And this has been my kitchen. Well, kiss me Blarney Stone, it's time for doing a nice St. Patrick's Day meal. And we're going to be using corned beef briskets from Blarney Stone. Now you don't want to kiss this Blarney Stone because kissing raw meat, I don't think that's a thing. Is it a thing? Is it a thing? Do people kiss raw meat? I have no idea. No idea. No, we're going to be cooking this meat. And in order to cook it, we're going to be taking 6 hours of our time to cook this meat into perfection. Now, we're taking, a lot of you, for St. Patrick's Day, every single year we'll do the same thing. And I've seen this so many times. You pick up a corned beef brisket, you pick up a head of cabbage, you boil both of them until they're nice and done and tender and juicy and delicious and filled with flavor, and then you just serve it. But there's got to be other ways to prepare a corned beef brisket. There's got to be other ways to eat cabbage. There's got to be other ways to prepare both of these things into a beautiful St. Patrick's Day meal, and that's what I'm here to show you. So we're going to take corned beef brisket, and we have 2 of them, and we're going to cook this for 6 hours. So make sure you have enough time to do this because 6 hours is a long time to wait for dinner. Never mind my ground beef over there because that's going to turn into one of our other recipes. Now, in order to open our corned beef brisket, we're going to cut one of the ends of the packaging open. And it's going to be nice and juicy when we pull it out of there. So, and this juice is basically a combination of the natural juices that come from the brisket itself, added in some brine and some seasoning, and that's what gives it its rich red color. I'm going to pull this bad boy out of its packaging. There we go. I'm going to set it down in the sink, and don't worry, it's a very clean sink. I cleaned it about 6 times in a row, so it should be clean. And we're going to rinse the brine off of the meat. Make sure it's nice and clean. Like that. That was already in the packaging. Now, if it already has seasoning in it, go ahead and just leave the seasoning. Well, we're just going to kind of rinse the brine away, and some of the seasoning will come with it, but some of it will stay on there. Okay, that's good and washed. Now we need to dry this. So we're going to set this down. Make sure the hands and phalanges are clean. Very hot water. Okay, now my fingers are steaming. Let's get some paper towel. And we are going to need this to be dry. So we're going to pat dry our brisket. Starting with the top one. Okay. And then we're going to lay it down over here on the counter and pat away low moisture. And the reason why we need to make these dry is because we're going to be brushing a browning sauce from Kitchen Bouquet, which is probably the best one you can go with. Very popular brand for browning sauce. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off by browning our entire brisket. And then we're going to sear it for about 5 minutes on each side. And then we're going to put it into that roaster there with some onion and water, and we're going to roast the heck out of it for 6 hours. It's going to be a long recipe, folks, and it's going to be a long way there, but we can make a very succulent, juicy, tender, and beautiful corned beef brisket. It's just going to take a sweet, long time for it to reach perfection. Now, you can trim away the excess fat of your brisket. You can leave it as is if you want to. It just depends on how health conscious you want to be and how much time you want to put into making this dish. So it's really up to you. I choose to leave it on there. You know, I know it's an unhealthy practice to eat too much fats, and I know I don't really look like I need too much fats, but some things I just cannot resist. And I can't resist a good cut of meat with a good layer of fat on it, you know? I mean, remember when Mom used to make steak and you were really like young and growing up and it's like, can I eat your fat? You know, they would save the fat for later, and then you as a kid would say, can I eat your fat? Did you ever do that when you were a kid? I did. I was a strange kid. But anyway, now we patted that dry. I'm going to put that in the sink because now it's been touched by red meat and I do not want it to touch anything else. And we're just going to go over the bottom one more time here. Well, this is... Okay, good. Okay, now, make sure that we identify the top from the bottom. This is the bottom, this is the top part, and then the bottom is underneath. Good. Now, I have some browning sauce and a silicone brush. And what we're going to do is we're going to brush this over with browning sauce. And what this is just adds for color. Not much for flavor, folks, because this isn't really popular for its flavor. Much rather for color. Because if you smell it, there's not much to it. There's not much flavor to this. It's just to give your meat a very brown color when you cook it. And that way, it'll look tantalizing and it will taste tantalizing as well. I mean, there are some flavors in here, but it's really not meant for the flavor. It's meant for the color. Okay, now we're going to go to our other one. We're going to brown it. And always go with Kitchen Bouquet. This is a plug for Kitchen Bouquet. You might find some other brands in your grocery, but Kitchen Bouquet was the first and main maker of browning sauce. And nothing really coats your sauce better than Kitchen Bouquet, and it's a very, very popular brand. So they were the pioneers of browning sauce. And then you can get your generics, but just stick with the Kitchen Bouquet. I mean, it's good stuff. Okay, turn this up, and then it's best to pre-grease your skillet and have a big enough skillet for this task. Reason being is because well, we want as much of that browning sauce in there as possible. You don't really want to put straight up oil this time. I know usually sometimes it's good to have a little oil because it helps with the cooking process and it helps to add a little bit of crispiness to your cooking. But this time we're just going to coat the skillet with oil. So this is an oily coated skillet. There's not too much in excess, and it's just perfect for giving us a good sear. And it's going to be like, you want the least amount of liquid possible. That way the browning sauce doesn't run clean away. You want that color. So as much of the color as you can retain in your meat, the better. Let's go over here. And we're almost out of browning sauce. So just one little bowlful is enough to brown. And if we get some on the counter, don't worry about it. It cleans up. Now, if you don't have a roaster like this, you can use your oven. And what we can do is you can use a roasting pan and put a rack down in it so that your meat is not sitting in the water. So if best way to do this is have a roaster like this, or you can use a roasting pan, but you definitely want to have a rack. Have it sitting on a rack in your roaster, whatever you decide to choose. You either use that or use your oven. And so that way, not only can you remove the meat from the rest of the dressings that are going to be helping to infuse flavor into our cooking process, but you can also keep the color as brown as possible. Again, because this is a key part of this whole recipe is the color. The whole color and if it's sitting in the water, that's just going to ruin the effects of the finished product. Okay, there we go. Now we're getting good. Now we're getting cooked. It's reaching the temperature we need. So 5 minutes after you start to hear sizzle, sizzle. And we're going to just flip it. And then we're going to cook the other side of it for 5 minutes. Meanwhile, we get our roaster ready. So this is going to be our rack. We're going to be putting both meats on here. And then we're going to be chopping some onions. And we're going to be placing the onions around the meat. This is going to help infuse an onion flavor into our meat, into the cooking process. And meanwhile, while this is cooking, while this is searing, I want to tell you what we're also going to be working on. We're going to be steaming some cabbage. We're going to shred some cabbage and show you how to steam that. We're going to make some cabbage rolls. And probably the best way to eat cabbage, rather than just boiled and by itself, just eating leaves of cabbage, because what fun is that? No, it's not fun anymore. I mean, it might have been delicious for, just something to throw together for your St. Patty's Day meal. But, I mean, we're talking like being a gourmet here. I mean, there's got to be better ways to cook things. So that's what we're going to be showing you how to do here with our corned beef brisket. But we're also going to show you how to steam cabbage. So we're going to lay down a nice bed of steamed cabbage and then put our meat slices over that. That's going to be really tasty. We're also going to show you how to make cabbage rolls. We're going to take another cabbage and we're going to boil the leaves until they're nice and tender, and we're going to fill it with some filling. And then we're going to roll it and then bake it in the oven, top it with some tomato sauce, and we're going to bake it in the oven, and we're going to just enjoy the heck out of it. So, and we have some of the filling over here. We still have to go to the store and get some more stuff, but that's what we can do while this is cooking. So we're going to be roasting this in a big roaster like this, like I said before, at 270, right where the defrost is, 275 degrees. So 275, going to cook it for 6 hours. And why slow cook it? Because if it cooks too fast, it's not going to be as tender. So if you slow cook it and slowly bring up that heat, it'll lose less juices that way, it'll be more succulent that way, it'll be a lot more tender that way. It's going to be super, 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 super delicious. Just do it like we do here. Okay, now I think it's time to flip our meat. So I am going to reach for a pair of tongs now. And we're going to get that flipped over. So always, when you're working with meat, or at least cooked meat, always use tongs, and then you look on the other side. Now there we go, look at that. Look at that. So that browning sauce cooks right into the meat there. Now we're going to cook the other side of it. Okay. Cook the other side of that, and that's already got a nice rich flavor coming up from that nice aroma from the browning sauce. Coming up from the steam here, you can really smell it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Mm-hmm. Nice aroma.
Very nice aroma. Yes. Remember, we're just searing it now, but in the end, that's going to be slow cooked in there. It's going to be succulent, juicy. All that juice is going to be retained inside of our meat. When we cut it open, it's going to be so tender and so delicious, so moist and tasty, and you don't even have to salt and pepper it because it's got plenty of that seasoning already on the brisket. So, I mean, if it comes with a seasoning packet, save that for the last step. Before you cover that up, put the seasoning over the top of it. If it's already in the meat, then there's nothing you can do. It's already seasoned. So with Blarney Stone, they just put the seasoning right in there and they brine it, and then it's shipped out to the stores. But other brands, I've seen them putting in little plastic packets, and you can just use that seasoning, just put it over the top, and then let it cook. And all that's in those seasonings are just basically peppercorns and capers, I think. Although this one I think has some bay leaf in it too, because I think I saw some like leafy on there, like bay leaf kind of related. So yeah, this might actually have bay leaf in it.
Some kind of green leaf.
Yeah. And chances are when you see something leafy like that, it's usually bay leaf. Yeah. I'm already excited. I'm already can't wait for this recipe to be finished, but we still have a 6-hour wait ahead of us. 6 hours, man. That's the time, 5:01? God, last time I saw the clock, it was like 2 o'clock. How did it jump 3 hours already? Well, I guess time flies when you're excited about food. About 3 more minutes on the side, and we'll be good and golden to remove it, place it on our rack, and then put it over here, start on our second one, and do the same thing. Okay, so 5:03. Now let's get this off the fire and in to our roaster. Okay. First, let me see the other side of that. Oh, beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It is beautiful. Okay. There it goes. Look at that. Beautiful color, beautiful coloring, beautiful coloring. I'm going to get that over into that side there. Good, good. Okay, let that cook for some. And then I'm going to add it to our other beef brisket. And then while we are thinking about it, let's get some water ready. We're only going to need about maybe half a cup of water. Doesn't take much water. Does not take much water. All we need to do is just add some water to the bottom of that pan with our onions. So while that's going, I'm going to grab a cutting board. All we need to do is just slice our onions. We're going to cut those into slices. Doesn't have to matter how thin or thick. It's just being used to imbue the flavor of onion into our meal. Nothing more, nothing less. We're not going to be eating this onion. It's just there to add for flavor. We're going to put it around the outside of our meat. So separate the rinds, separate the layers. Don't put it over the meat, just put it around the meat. You don't want anything to touch your meat. You don't want anything to touch that corned beef brisket. You just want to put this around the meat. Okay. Then in the same cup we're going to be using to extract water into there. So we're going to need it's 1 part rice to 2.5 parts water. So that's 2 cups of rice. We're going to need, that's 4 cups, and an extra half a cup for good measure. 4.5 cups of water to 2 cups of rice. Now, it does that music. Yes, it plays music. So we're going to turn this on. I'm going to do it on rice. Turn off the keep warm part because that's what turns it on. Make sure this lid is on very tightly, and it is. Because if it's off just by a little bit, it won't start. And now we're on. So I don't know why I'm doing that with the peeler. Just I see something that needs to be done and I do it. That's what. Okay. Now we're going to take the old outer layer of all those shavings, and we are going to discard this immediately, as much as we can discard. That's bad carrot shavings. Those are bad carrot shavings. Bad carrot shavings. Bad. Shame on you. Shame on you. The rest of that we can just pop right down the drain. Some water to kind of help that along. And while that water is on, we're going to wash our carrot down. Wash all of our carrots, and we're just going to fire off some of those shavings right into our cabbage. And there we have it. Peeled carrot. And with the rest of these nubs, just take them all up and throw them right into our roaster. This will help to imbue some carrot flavor in with that onion flavor. Ooh, watch out for the seam. Carrots, 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 carrots galore. Carrots, carrots, have some more. Carrots on that side, carrots on that side, carrots. Now we have carrots. Alright. Now, let's go ahead and take our mixture of vegetable and give it a good tossing, which you see here. Get a good tossing, make sure that it's all mixed in there as we run cold water over our vegetables and make sure it's all wet, 100% wet. If it falls off into the sink, make sure you're working with a clean sink. Just keep on tossing it in that water. And steal it over here and just start grabbing a handful, putting it in. Grab a handful, put it in. Grab a handful and put it in. Get a lid, put a lid on it, and take it immediately to a between 5 and 6. And that's going to help steam. You can add anything else you want to in there. A little oil if you want to, a little butter. In fact, we're going to probably do that too. We're going to probably add a little bit of butter to that just to help give it a little creaminess. And all we need now is just a little pat of butter. Just about maybe half that, as we're going about that volume of veg. Well, that's about the size of it, because it is pretty skinny. So go ahead and add this butter up here, let it steam, and then what we're going to do after midway in, we're going to add the salt and pepper. So our water over here is kind of starting to boil. I'm going to turn this up a little more and add one at a time our cabbage leaves. And just let those boil until your leaves are tender. And just come put them in just one by one. Try to push them down if you can, because we don't want them to float. Use a spoon. Push them down if you can. We really don't want them to float. We want them in that water. And then we just put them in one at a time. That way they don't all cook together and they don't all fuse together in the cooking process. Okay, now push them down into the water you go, my beautiful cabbage leaves.
Just need to be a little careful you don't crack them.
Nope, don't crack them. Just give them a push. Don't force them down. You just need to give them a little push. Maybe add some more water to that, because some of that did evaporate out of there. Okay. I'm going to put a lid on this if I can get that on there. And that's going to help keep in the moisture when we boil. Come back over here. Maybe we might have to turn that up a little bit more, because there is a lot of vegetable in there. And then, best to get 2 spoons. Which is why stir fry is done with 2 spoons. Because you have a skillet full of vegetable, you need to toss it. In order to toss it, you need 2 spoons. But we're going to keep a lid on it for right now until you see that butter and that butter start to melt and steam coming up. Then you're ready to toss. And then you're ready to add salt and pepper. And when that all steams together, we're going to toss it. When that butter starts to melt, we're going to toss it with the butter. And then we're going to leave the lid on this. We're not even going to touch those leaves. Just let them boil. And then they'll be ready for stuffing. And we're going to get 1 pound of ground beef, 1 pound of sausage. I'm also going to roast some potatoes. So I need the butter for that. Anyhow, got that going. Want to see how we roast potatoes in this house? I'll show you how to do roasted potatoes. Now, this is the same recipe you can use for what is called fingerling potatoes, which are a special kind of potato. They're kind of long, like kind of shaped, kind of longish, and it's got a little bend and curve to it. And you slice those in half, and you do the same recipe as we're doing here, and you can have roasted fingerling potatoes. But since we don't have fingerling potatoes, we have the next best thing. We have russet potatoes from Idaho. We're going to get the biggest mixing bowl we got, which is this one here, and we're going to need it because we are going to melt 1/3 cup of butter. So let's go ahead and get that out. 1/3 cup of butter, which is going to be right to there, about that much. 1/3 cup of butter, right about there. I'm going to melt that. Now we can cover up the butter. We're done with the butter. Paula Dean, if you're watching this, we are done with the butter and we're putting it away. Because if we don't put it away, then we tempt you into wanting to come over here. Well, they still have that butter, y'all. Okay, no we don't. It's put away. Okay, now we're going to put this over here. We no longer need the strainer, and we just need the microwave to melt our 1/3 cup of butter. And to do that, we're going to set this on to 20 seconds should do us for melted butter of that capacity. We're also going to add 3 cloves of garlic, and you can use minced garlic. We're also going to add 1/4 tablespoon of black truffle oil. You can use olive oil if you want to. I prefer to use black truffle oil because of the flavor. There is a rich, beautiful, tantalizing flavor that comes with this stuff, and I would rather use this to bring out the flavor of your potatoes rather than anything else. So, I'm going to grab our butter and give it a little swish. The rest of it will melt away, just like that. And then we're going to need another spoon just to mix. And I'm going to just use a rice paddle, one of the rice paddles we have. I'm just going to stir that in, make sure all of that melts together. Alrighty. Groovy. Now when that's melting, I'm going to add our 3 cloves of garlic right away. And it's about 2.5. A little bit more for 3. Not that much. 3 good cloves of garlic. And mix that in a little bit. Well, we'll just do like that. Okay, then about this much truffle oil. It doesn't take much, maybe a 1/4 teaspoon truffle oil. Doesn't take much. We're just going to add it to flavor, and we're going to make it nice and oily, and coatability is going to be strong. That butter is going to help coat it. Okay, and then what next? Salt and pepper. Right. Add some salt, add some pepper. Just add that to taste. You don't really need much. All it's going to do is it's going to coat our potato. Perfect. Alright.
Technology is funny sometimes.
Isn't it?
Hammer's detecting a face in the,
Is it really?
in the mixture.
There's a face in this mixture somewhere. Give that a good stir, quick stir. And that's all you really need to work on our potatoes. I'm going to take our potatoes and we're just going to rinse, give it a good rinse. You really want to rinse these really well. We'll just throw them in the same strainer we use for our vegetables. It'll be just fine. So cut the sides, just like that. Then when you got that, cut them lengthwise down the middle. Just like that. That's what we want. Cut off the sides. The reason why we're doing the sides is because we want this to stay lying flat. Cut lengthwise, and there we go, perfect. So when they're in the oven and then cook like that, we can turn them over and cook the other side. Just like that. And leave the skins on them. Skins are good for you. Leave the skins. Don't peel the skins. Don't peel away those lovely, precious, enriching, vitamin-enriched skins. You can actually benefit from leaving the skins on. That's going to be a big one. That's going to be a big, I'm not going to lie, that one's going to be a big piece. Okay. Just keep going with however many potatoes you use, and if you use about this volume, it's just fine. As long as you can cover the bottom of a cookie sheet, you'll be just fine. And you can use fingerling potatoes for this if you want to, or you can use just plain old, standard, regular, ordinary russet potatoes. Just cut them the way you see me do here, and it doesn't really matter the shape, the size, as long as you cut those ends off and then cut it directly down the middle. It's going to be easy to cook, coat, and make into beautiful, lovely roast potatoes. Okay, and you need to cut them down lengthwise. Make them flat on both sides. Discard them. You don't need them. You can save them for something else if you want to, but really, we don't really need them. Now, with the potatoes that we are going to use, we are going to give this another shake because now it's kind of solidified a little bit, so kind of get that. Get a good mix going. There we go. Bring it back to its liquidous form.
It smells wonderful.
It does, doesn't it? And what we're going to do is we're just going to coat both sides, just like that. Okay, before I go further, I think we'll have enough room on this and won't be too big of a deal. Right onto our cookie sheet. Take your next one and just coat it. Make sure it's fully coated. You can take your whole entire thing and do it all at the same time, but no, I like to take my time. I like to make sure that every piece is in fact coated with all of this luscious ingredient and oil and flavor. I don't want any of these pieces to skimp on anything that we put on it. So almost like an egg wash, just do one at a time. That's okay, just do one at a time. One at a time. Alright, we're almost full. Look at that, almost filled up the big one. Look at that. We're almost full on the big one too. It's a good thing I went big. Perfect, okay, one more piece. One more piece to coat. And we're probably going to just use the very last of that garlic that's in there and plop it right down over here. Beautiful. And then I'm going to come over here to our steamed vegetable. We're going to give this a toss with both spoons. Look at that beautiful steam. Okay, When it's all translucent and loose like that, I'm going to loosen it up a bit, turn off our heat, transfer this right over to our bowl, which I need to rinse out after all. Okay, this is the bowl we're going to use to beat everything together. I mean, I could just leave it the way it is. It only had just butter and garlic in it. So let me do that. Let me just leave it the way it is. I just didn't need that excess butter in there. So we're just going to need to store this because we do need the skillet for the next step, and that's the meat. We're just going to toss all that in there. That's going to be the bed. This is going to be the bed for our presentation. Alright. Good enough, good enough, good, perfect. Beautiful color, array of beautiful green and orange, which is the colors on the Irish flag. Okay, so we're adding a pound of brown. And of course I dropped it on the floor.
At least it wasn't opened yet.
Yeah, thank God for that. If it was open, I would not be a happy camper. Okay. We're adding 1 pound of ground with 1 pound of ground sausage. Get that out of the package.
You have to keep wiggling.
There we go. 1 pound of ground round and 1 pound of sausage. Going to be mixed together until you don't see any more pink. This is going to be the stuffing for our cabbage rolls. And we still got a little pink here and there. It's about halfway pink, halfway. Alright, so we got a mixture of brown, and look at all that grease, look at all that fat. We are going to take the same strainer that we used before, and now with our newly rinsed out strainer, we'll strain our meat. Give it a good pat down. Okay. Okay, now back over to our skillet and re-add our drained meats. We're going to add 2 cloves of garlic to this, so just 1 good spoonful. That's about 2 cloves. Okay, next, I'm going to go for some rice. I'm going to just take a good helping heaping of rice into our meat. Okay, almost done it all, yep. Our rice broken down and mixed in with our meat. Put down our rice, let's cook for a little while. Before I start mixing it, I'm going to add our roast potatoes to the oven. Center rack, 400 degrees, 15 minutes. 15 minutes from now. It is 11:06. So 15 minutes from now.
21.
11:21, we're going to pull them, flip them, and cook them for another 15. And meanwhile, take our cabbage off, because now they're at the limpiness that I desire. The limpier they are, the easier they are for rolling. Break down all your rice, stir it in real good with your meat. If you need the extra spoon to help kind of toss it, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I need right there. That's exactly what I need. I'm going to move this off the fire completely. And then I'm going to take this, and then I'm going to put it over here. And then I'm going to need to, excuse me for one moment while I clear up this sink. There we go. And now I'm left with a clean strainer. That's what we need in order to get this to the next step. I'm going to take our pot, run it through the steam, the strainer, whatever you want to call it. I call it I'm too tired to call things by their names anymore. I'm just going to give them a new name. Done about all of our steamed cabbage. Set aside the pot. Don't need it anymore. And now, I'm going to run cold water gently over our leaves. We're going to add cold water. That way, we'll cool those right down so that we'll be able to handle them. And also helps rinse away any of the residual salt that may be on our leaves. Okay, now check. Oh yes, that's that's exactly what we want. We want to have that type of limpness to our cabbage. So we're just going to take a nice hearty handful there, and then we're going to do like this scrawny side up, tuck that in just like a burrito or an egg roll. Tuck those sides in and continue to roll. Now you may break some of your leaves, that's okay, and then set them right into our baking dish, seam side down. When I put seam side down, go for another handful and continue on. See that egg starting to congeal? We pulled it out just in the nick of time. Okay, so the flimsy side, tuck it in, roll it very carefully, tuck the two ends in very carefully again, because remember, we are now working with very limp and very delicate cabbage leaves, and they can easily tear open just with the ease of any force known to man. It can even tear open from somebody breathing on it wrong. Okay, get a good dose there. Make sure it's even. And get out of there. There we go. Push all of it back as far against your starting. Tuck it under. Tuck the two ends in. Roll. And there you go. Perfect cabbage roll. Seam side down for your next one. Now that's all of our leaves. Okay, that's it. The rest of this will be going on the side. Next, belch, and then for good measure, and then go ahead and rinse off. For our next step, we're going to make our sauce. And really quickly, because we have things going into the oven, things coming out of the oven, everything needs to come together. And that can stay in the roaster. That can stay in the roaster and let it kind of feed off of its residual heat. Next, I'll just need one of these. I'll just do the easy thing and add, just get one of these. And then 2 cans of tomato sauce is all we need. 2 cans of tomato sauce. And then you can add anything you want to in ways of herbs, spices, salt and pepper if you want, but we got plenty of salt and pepper as it is inside the meat, so you really don't need to add any of that. You're going to have plenty of flavor, but in order to make this taste a little better, you can add herbs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I'm going to add on the top of this. So we really don't need any herbs inside the sauce because all the herbs are going to go on the top of our final product. Okay, turn this back up to 5. Get that cooking. Do I have another spoon? I put them all in the machine. Okay, let's rinse this off now. And we're just needing to cook the sauce with this one, so we can rinse it off. It's just only handled rice and cooked meat, so it should be fine. Rinse that off good in very hot water, and then come over here to the sauce. And then we're just going to heat this up, and we're going to get rid of these 2 cans. Okay, and then that sauce, when it's done, it's going to go over the top of this, and then we're going to bake it for about 20 to 25 minutes at 400 degrees. Meanwhile, it's been 15 minutes. I think it's been 15 minutes. Let's turn those guys over. Find where my... There they are. Okay. No, not quite. Not quite there. They're still very white. They're still very white. It's not quite where I need it to be, so a little more time on that. Meanwhile, come back over here. Give our sauce a stir. We just need to warm this up so that way the consistency will thin out, and that way we can spread it over there a little easier. And then, over here, I got 2 ingredients that I'm going to be using to top that with. Fresh thyme and fresh chopped chive. There's my chive, here's my thyme. The thyme leaves are going to go directly on top. So after I'm done cooking the sauce and thinning it out a little bit, And I don't need to add anything to this because all the seasoning is in the beef over there. The salt, the pepper, the garlic, all that stuff. We don't really need to add any of that more to the sauce because it's just fine the way it is. We just need to thin it out a little. And to thin it out, you just cook it a little. I'm going to speed up the process a little. We just need to reach a simmer. A simmering, rolling boil. We don't need to boil it. We just need to simmer. When it starts to bubble, pull it right off. And then we are going to get a better grip on it. And we're just going to pour sauce right over the top. And all over. Try not to let it splash too much. And while you're at it, spread some of that sauce over. If it's in too much in one area, just kind of spread it with a spoon. Down the side. Make sure everything is covered. Cover. Good. And then we're going to put a few sprigs of thyme right over it. Okay. And the fresh sprigs of thyme we're going to discard after it's done baking. But really, we just need it for the flavor. Just kind of use the flavor of thyme into our creation here. And then into the oven. And look at those potatoes, they're ready to be flipped. So we're going to put this on the top rack, let it cook, and then we're going to take our roast potatoes and flip them. Now when they get to be about golden brown and your garlic is nice and toasted, we're going to flip. I'll set it over here. We're going to flip those over, so I'll use this spoon that I just used to spoon out the sauce. Rinse that off a little. Okay. I'm going to just flip. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That's what we want right there. Beautiful, beautiful. And this is about, I want to say, 25 minutes of cooking time. It wasn't exactly 15, but 25 will do nicely for this volume. Back into the oven for another 15 minutes. Or until those cabbage rolls are done. Both of them should be done at the same exact time. I can already smell that thyme.
I was just about to say the same.
Now you're cooking fresh. Okay, so we're going to need this. We're going to need that for our garnish. We got that as a side dish. And just like the Irish flag, beautiful remix of green, white, orange, just like the Irish flag. So this is a perfectly good Irish dish to make for St. Paddy's Day. So while we are waiting for those to be finished, let's take a look at our meats. And here comes the reveal, folks. The reveal we've all been waiting 6 hours long for is finally revealed. Dig that smell. Look at that smell. Now your onions are going to be caramelized into this black in color, and I don't know if you want to use that as a garnish or a topping for your meats. You can if you want to, but really we just needed that for the flavor, so you're going to be tasting that in your meat. You don't really need to top it with any of that onion. It's just there to imbue the flavor of onion into the cooking process. And slow cooking it helps it to do that. I'm going to set that aside. Grab our tongs here and look at that. Oh, beautiful. Tender. Oh, this meat is going to fall right apart when you cut into it. I can already see it. And look at all the juices. All the juices that collected from the meat from the cooking. That's 6 hours worth of cooking, folks. And you didn't even have to turn it or touch it or do nothing. You just cook it, roast it, and walk away from it. Let it do its thing. And that is the result of our corned beef brisket. Beautiful, beautifully cooked. It's going to be savory, delicious, juicy, tender, moist. Everything you love about corned beef brisket without the blandness of having it being boiled. And that's one thing I wanted to do, is show you a different way of cooking your corned beef brisket into a nice, mouth-watering, tantalizing, flavorful way, and not having all of that stuff evacuated from boiling your meat. Because all of the vitamins, all the minerals, all the flavor, everything about corned beef brisket gets evaporated when you boil it. And yeah, might be good as a quick throw together, but folks, nothing beats when you take the time and the creativity to actually cook the heck out of it, and this is the result, folks. This is beauty at its finest. Wait till you taste it, though. Wait till you taste it. Because right here, this is a new way for you to consider cooking your corned beef brisket for your next St. Patty's Day gathering. And it's very much recommended you doing it this way, and you'll really impress the heck out of all of the people you cook it for. But just remember, 6 hours out of your time to cook this beautiful meat, and then when it comes through, it's all gonna be beautiful. Oh, I can't wait. So I'll see you about 10 more minutes. We're gonna pull out our potatoes and see how well we're doing. We're gonna pull out our cabbage rolls and see how well we're doing with that. I'm going to serve it all up, plate it. I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like in the presentation, the taste test, the flavor is going to be beautiful. And wouldn't you just love to be here with us? I saved it. I didn't drop it. Pardon my cheesy sound effect there. That's ready to come out. And that's ready to come out. Beautifully done. Turn this off. Put those guys away. And now, while it's still hot, and we know they're done underneath, we don't have to flip them again, garnish it with a little chopped chive. Gives it a little extra color on the top there. Chopped chive over the top until you got garnish on every single slice of roast potato. Lovely color, presentation, beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and junk these because now they're all dry and cooked, so the flavor has already been removed from the thyme. And if you get some thyme leaves over the top of that, don't worry, you can still eat this. But we're just going to discard this because it's already been cooked through. Okay, and that's ready. Get that stem out of there. Alright, that's all ready to go. Whoa.
Ooh.
See how tender? It's falling apart. I can't even pick it up without it falling apart. Okay, make sure I get as much as possible. Come on, damn you. I don't want the rack, I want the meat. Screw. Come on. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful cuts of meat. Get that carrot out of there. Okay. Going in for number 2. I'm going to have to use my hand to help get it out of there because it is so tender it falls apart if you let it. Okay. Beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful, 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 excellent, succulent, tender, juicy, delicious. What did I tell you, folks? Did I ever steer you wrong? Have I ever lied to you? Have I ever said that something wasn't delicious? This is going to be super, super duper delicious. And look at all of this. This is just beautiful, beautiful. Start with this piece because this was so eager to get cut in the first place. Look at that, just with little effort. Okay, first of all, let's go over here to our bowl. And we're going to plate it with our Irish mix. This is what I'm going to call it, Irish mix, because it looks like the Irish flag. The same colors that are on the Irish flag. I'm going to lay down a bed right here of our steamed cabbage and carrot mix. Okay. And then a couple of cuts of meat. Look at this beautiful array. Look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. Ooh, ooh, I'm excited. I am so excited. I'm so happy this turned out so good. So tender,
effortless,
juicy, delicious, and all effortless too. Yes, indeed, effortless. Look at that beautiful, beautiful, lovely presentation. Okay, get a couple of these guys. Careful not to knock off any of our garnish, our cabbage rolls. I'm going to dip right in and grab a couple here. Right on the side of the plate it goes. I'm going to get one more. Here's another one with some thyme on it. Okay, beautiful. Right over onto the side of the plate. There we go. Beautiful. Look at that presentation. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, there is our beautiful, lovely array of food. And now, let's find out how good it tastes. Now since that's corned beef brisket, we don't need a steak knife. We need a butter knife. First, let's take this over here and do a proper taste test. First I want to try this roasted potato. Potato is nice and beautiful on the inside. If anything, you might need a steak knife to cut into the potato, but that's okay. It's really roasted. That's really good. For some reason, it's tickling my taste buds. And now,
Soaked in the flavors.
oh, it's got beautiful flavor. Now, the cabbage roll. Stuffed to the brim with our stuffing meat and rice, topped with tomato sauce. Oh my God. And there's a piece of meat in there. I'm gonna grab it. I haven't even gotten to the meat yet, and those cabbage rolls tasted out great. Now, for the piece de la resistance. How good is this corned beef brisket? With the bedding. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, it's so good. Oh. God, I'm gonna have a heart attack. It's so good. Oh my God, it's so tender. The juice. God damn, that's good. Oh my God, and it just practically falls off. Look at that. Look at that.
Use the Lord's name in vain. No, kidding.
Oh. Folks, this was probably the most delicious thing I've ever made in the kitchen, and I am not kidding. I've made a lot of recipes and a lot of different things, but this is the best thing I've ever made. Oh my God, I'm in heaven. I am literally in heaven.
I'm sneaking a small piece.
Oh my God, it's just wonderful. Everything turned out delicious. Folks, you gotta try this at home. And I don't care what you're doing right now or what you have planned, but tonight, skip all those plans. Don't go out to eat. Just go out to your grocery store, pick up a corned beef brisket and do it like we did here. Get a cabbage, get some carrot, shred that up and put it down on a nice bedding for our meat. Get some extra cabbage and roll it up into some cabbage rolls just like we did here, and roast you some delicious potato. Everything tasted so good. And I'm glad I picked up 2 corned beef briskets. You know why? There's not going to be a scrap of leftovers tonight, and if there is, I'm taking it to work tomorrow. Guaranteed. So, for Cooking with SonicBlu, there's a SonicBlu Darkfold saying, if you're not cooking good, you're not eating good. You're definitely not eating what we're eating if you're not eating good, and if you're not cooking good. Now all I need to make this complete is a pint, which I don't have any. I drank it all. But, God, I love this meat.
Is it actually 501 or?
It is actually 5:01.
Okay.
Yeah,
when
I
we have
changed
the time. Okay.
I changed the time. I changed the time on there. No, I didn't. Now it says 3:57 on the microwave. Now which one's the right time?
What?
I changed the time on there. What the hell?
Check the computer.
No, it is. It's 5:02. Yeah, it's 5:02. So the time on this microwave is wrong.
Oop.
There we go. So now it's updated to 5:02. I don't know what the hell that was doing when. I was like, wait a minute. Last time I looked at the clock, it was 2 o'clock, and then I'm looking over the microwave, 3 something, like 3:52, and then 5:01 over here. Like, what's the right time? You didn't waste that much.
Oops. Left the ring.
I left a ring. Oh my god, I see the ring.
Clean it quick before the grunge girl comes.
Oh my god, no. She's gonna come out of my TV set and say that I have 7 days of which to live. I think 2 pounds of rice, or 2 cups. 2 cups of rice should do the trick.
2 pounds?
2 pounds is way too much. So let me check. I will. You dumb mother fricka fracka dada. Forget I said that. Restart, that's going to be in the bloopers. Master of dropping things can also edit any words he blurts out, which is why you heard a beep. Because I'm sick and tired of being the master of dropping things. Which is why if you say, I'm the master of dropping things, you can have that title. Take it away from me. I'm not bragging one bit. You can have it. Have my title of master of dropping things. Please, I implore you, take my title away from me. But until then, I am the undisputed king of dropping things. I don't want to be, but unfortunately I am. And if somebody wants to challenge me, I dare you to challenge my ability of dropping things on a daily basis. And if you can do it better than me, take my title away, please. But other than that, I am the undisputed king of dropping things. A title which I never applied for, I never sought out to get, I never wanted, and I still don't want. Even to my dying day, I don't want that title. So if you want it, you can have it.
You want to tell them about your record at work?
Oh yeah, where I dropped an entire case of cat food onto the floor and picking up one slim, flat box of pet food. 12 cans, in cans this size, about that big around, all on the floor, from picking it up. Now normally, I would look at that and go, oh dear, I dropped them. But not me. Me, it's expected. I'm like, there they go. And a new record because I dropped more cans in 2 seconds than I've ever dropped in my career at Petco. So, there you go. Master of dropping things breaks his own record. In fact, I've broken my record twice. A few days before that, I went to hang something on the hooks. You know, easy job. Put a product on the hook, let it hang there. Well, when I went to hang something on the hook, it was on the edge of the hook and it fell off the hook, and it knocked down everything else from the hook underneath it onto the floor. It must have been about 1, 2, 3, 4. About 4 products hit the floor, plus the one that fell from the hook above it. So that's 5 products. I'm like, oh, a new record. No, not this time. A whole flat of cat food just by picking up a flat case of cat food, all onto the floor. And I don't know how in the hell I did that, but I did, and the rest is history. Because I prefer doing that rather than tossing, because you know you're going to get all of your potatoes perfectly coated that way. And tossing it just rushes the job. You could toss if you want to, but tossing it just rushes the job to me. So
you could toss if you want to.
You can leave garlic behind, but your friends don't toss, and if they don't toss, well, they're no chefs of mine.